Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Afefe. I am doing another taping on the realness, a spiritual take on pop culture. Thinking about last night's episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac, y'all. Every time, these last three episodes in particular, every time I think that it's just, the drama's not going to go up a notch. Um, a few things really stood out to me that I wanted to share with you all. I'm going to try and keep this short. A couple of things that really stood out to me, you all. And again, I try to, look at this from a spiritual perspective as well as some shade, okay? Couple of things. Are you all as put off by Candace's constant referrals and jabs at people based on things they can't control, like their body parts? Her thing about, the neck, referring to Giselle. Of course, she's always on Mia's, size 13 feet or whatever. But with her, I notice her attacks, her jabs are very often about, even Wendy did it with Mia, but in a fit of anger. I kind of get it. Talk about Mia crater face. But it reminds me, not only is it very, very high schoolish, but it reminds me of, when you attack people about things that they really cannot control, for instance, versus something that maybe they could, like clothing. Giselle, like, even her daughters have gotten on her about her choice of outfits. Like, she really needs some help, I think, in that department. Yeah, we're thinking about, look, that white sheet that Charisse put a belt around and wrapped around herself, for one of their soirees. That was just, abominable. Ashley's little yoga tart or cat suit, or I don't really even know what to call it, that she chose to wear to a very, what was supposed to be a very nice and elegant dinner. So some of those things, yes, but when Candace goes in on, the forehead, I mean, we see those things, they hit their mark because it's true. But I just wonder if that's a little necessary. Wondering how you all feel about that. Second thing that really struck me during last night's episode, you all, when they were at that dinner and Robin came out with the with her electronics as the grande dame, as Karen said. Now she's, last week it was with the phone. She's TMZ, and the episode with Candace, and I mean with Wendy and Mia. Now she shows up with I mean, who carries a doggone speaker in their phone, plants it in the middle of the table, and plays this recording from Candace's live? Now, what struck me about that, you all, is, remember, on the heels of that, Ashley, springs out this news about what Candace said, referring again to Karen possibly, allegedly having a little fling or something, right? This goes back even to when Charisse was on the show, and apparently that was a big blow up between Karen and Charisse. So now they're going back to that again. Karen, hearts went out to her, all kinds of memes on social media with the look on her face, the look of pure hurt. And that's what struck me, you all, is there are imagined hurts when they're just being dramatic, like Robin getting all offended because, was it Ashley who said, we don't bother, only punks bother with limes in their tequila. And like Robin had a moment behind that. Like, come on, Robin, how petty are you really gonna be this season? I don't get what's going on with her. I wonder, did production have a talk with her before they started filming last season and said, you got to up it, you got to bring more, because it's just too much. When she played that taping, when she put the speaker on the table and played the taping of Candace's live, where she dogs out the women, says they're all hoes, they ain't got nothing going on, blah, blah, blah. Well, it turns out Candace actually has been a supporter of Robin's merch and her efforts, her business enterprises, and said so apparently later on the live. But Robin was so, deciding to have a moment and spread that moment, among the women. And that just wasn't real compared to a very real hurt that it was clear that Karen was about to go through, and the notion that, the real damage that could be caused behind the, bringing up that kind of topic. What could happen possibly between Karen and Ray, how that could really impact Karen's life, beyond the show. Totally, night and day. And I really think, there's something to be said around that, especially from a spiritual perspective. What you do, what comes around goes around. And so, something that is whatever, lime with a, tequila without a lime, whatever, but something as real as that, that really struck me. And the third thing, you all, that really hit for me, I don't know if it did for you as well. I watched Watch What Happens Live, because Andy Cohen had Candace on there. And it really hit me, the difference that we are seeing, viewers and fans, between what these women are putting out, on camera when they are filming, and the lines that they're driving, the narratives that they're driving, and when they are just being women, just being kind of sort of friends, having a good time. For instance, why didn't we see more of this pool party, where apparently after the dinner, after the white party, when they all, they're in this water jumping around, we see 2 seconds of that. This is apparently a time when they were genuinely, having fun and being women, tipsy perhaps or whatever, but just having a good time. We see plenty of those moments on, say, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or Orange County. We've seen plenty of those drunken housewives have a good time party moments. But no, 2 clips of that. We spend way more time with these argumentative, damaging moments on Real Housewives of Potomac. So I'm looking at production and editing in that regard. Number 2, there is apparently a real schism between how these women feel about each other in the context of these narratives that they're speaking, and how they really feel. Candace made the comment on Watch What Happens Live that she and Ashley could be friends outside of the show. That was her word. Those were her words. Outside of the show, they could potentially be friends. But on the show, because of the narratives, that it ain't happening on the show. So again, these are reality shows that we're watching, you all, technically. Reality shows. And we understand that while it's not scripted, these women are being fed, and being prompted to promote certain narratives, whether they choose those narratives themselves or whether those narratives are being fed to them by production. We're not behind the cameras, and so we don't get exposure to all of that. But I think for those of us who've watched season after season, we get the gist of it. But I thought that was really telling, that, even the notion that after this horrific dinner, with the speaker moment where Robin plants the speaker and then Ashley does this bombshell about whether or not Karen tipped out on Ray, after that is when they went and did this club, went clubbing together. And suddenly we see Robin and Wendy hugged up on each other. We see, there's some nipple popping and stuff, like a crazy night that goes bad. And we're going to see more of that next week. But it just reminds me, there is a a huge distinction between when these women are sitting down at tables throwing jabs at each other, and when they are allowed to just move around with each other, have a great time. There was a great moment even when they went Lamborghini driving. Now, Mia, let me just throw this out there. Mia should never, ever, 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 ever host another trip for the ladies. The way things were mapped out, somebody on Twitter even said, this whole trip is giving me Groupon vibes, right? There are so many, I'm in South Florida, there are so many other things that they could have done. I'm sure that production lends some money. Mia's pretending that she paid for all of it. I kind of sort of doubt that, right? But there was that moment of, going Lamborghini driving, and while the other girls are out on this pontoon boat or whatever it was, paddling with their feet, taking off their expensive stilettos to paddle this boat around. It was just absurd, to the point of being absurd. But you all, I'm going to pull a card as I plan to do, and just ask Spirit, what were we meant to learn, from a human perspective, from a spiritual perspective, like what is going on, and what were we really meant to come away with, or what can we come away with and take a larger view of last night's episode. And let's see what Spirit says. Really felt bad for Karen. And it says, repairing the veil. Woo! Okay. Repairing the veil, forgiveness. I don't even think I have to elaborate on that. I think there is a lot of forgiveness. It's going to be, again, all things point to the reunion show. And Andy Cohen cannot do this. I don't know if he's going to bring back Nicki Minaj. I don't know if he's going to like, this is above, this is culturally, so many other reference points that I don't think he's going to be equipped to handle. He's got to let somebody else step in and do it. So, repairing the veil, Spirit says, you all, there is forgiveness that is necessary here. I think the women are going to really have to look at themselves and decide to what extent, even on a reality show, are they willing to just viscerally tear each other down just to promote their presence on the show. Are there other ways to be entertaining? Are there other ways to even be, a little shady, or a lot shady even? Are there other ways to do it without the harm, the potential harm and devastation that can occur and has been occurring, especially on this particular franchise on this season? So let me know what you think. I'll talk to you really soon. Take care.